Hello all, welcome to VH Online Trainings and welcome to the SQL Class 3 training. So as part of today's Class 3, we will see some important SQL inbuilt functions which is provided by SQL Server. So we'll see how to use these functions in our regular day-to-day writing queries activities, and we'll see how to use this using the filter conditions as well. So to highlight, there are many different categories of the functions. So basically, we am listing at the top level functions which we use mostly on day-to-day basis. Like we have the mostly string functions, date functions, aggregate functions, advanced functions as well. As you see, all the string functions will work with the text level data, and then to work with the date level parameters, we have the date functions, and to calculate the aggregate numbers, we do have some of set of aggregate functions as well, and then advanced functions. So we'll see all these various functions with live examples. So let's go back to our regular practice sessions. Okay. So I have a table here, customer details, wherein you can see there are multiple columns along with different rows here. Now we will use this table to see the various functions. So let's start with the string functions here. So if you want to provide that in the comments, you can write like this. So if you want to put any line in the comment and you don't want to consider this as for the execution, just put a double hyphen like this, or if you put anything, it will all consider as a comment. Okay. Or if you can rewrite the same thing, you can write like this. Once you start with a forward slash and the hash, then you need to end that one using with the same kind of syntax. Okay, so you can write like this comments. So let's go back and straightforwardly we will start with our regular string functions, whatever we have left, right, mid, substring. So okay, so let's start with the left function. So for this function, I would like to consider the city column. Okay, from the city column, I have a requirement saying that I need to extract the first three characters of this. So how can I extract that? Let's go on right here. Select. See all the keywords I am trying to mention in the capital letters. Please take a note of it. You can also follow the same kind of syntax. Select. I want to extract the three characters of this. So I'm writing left. There is a function called left. If you use this function will accept two parameters. First one is the text, and the second one is the number of characters that you want to extract. So what left function exactly will do is it will try to extract the number of characters that you are mentioning inside this from the starting of the string. So let's see how it goes. So I'm passing this city parameter, and the second parameter is three characters. Okay, so I want to extract three characters from this city column starting from the first. So I am using left city comma 3. Okay, from customer details. Right. So I'm just giving this as an alias left underscore city, or maybe you can mention like this. So let's go and execute it here. Now you see we got only the first three characters from the city column. So in the similar way, if I want to extract the last three characters of this, then I need to use, there is a function called write. If you use the right, the syntax will be same as the left. So here also you pass the data along with this to extract the three characters from the right side. So when you write like this, and let's go and execute, you see here we are getting the So if you want to observe whether you are getting correct or not, or you can write like this as well. We will just use one query to see all the text. I'm trying to write all the functions in the single query so that you can differentiate this. So as you see here, we are getting the left city and then right city, right three characters and the left three characters as well. So suppose if you want to extract the middle letters, you want to start from the third character and extract the three characters from there. Or let's say from the second character and you want to extract three characters from there. So if you want to extract like that in between the string, then you need to use the mid function. Okay. So you need to use the mid function. Like left and right, it will just take two parameters, but this will take three parameters. So let me write first. I will go back and explain this. Sorry for. So you need to use the substring function here because you want to extract the middle. So there is no mid function. Sorry for that. So there is a substring function which you can use to derive this. Now if you see here, I want to extract from the second character onwards, and from there I want to extract three characters. So that's why I have written as a substring city. I have mentioned here what is the starting index from where I need to extract and how many characters I want to extract. So for that reason I have mentioned like this substring city 2, 3 as a mid city. So this is how you can extract the part of the string which is in the middle. Okay. So if you want to extract from the start, use left. From the right, you can use right. If you want to extract in between, then you need to use the substring column. Sorry, substring function. Okay. So now let's go back and see the other functions here. There is a altering function. So suppose let's say if you have a space at the starting letter as a starting letter, suppose you consider this New Year, and if there is a space before n. Okay, if you want to trim the space at the left side, you need to use the function called altrim. There is a function called altrim. This will just simply remove the spaces where it is present at the starting of the string. So if you write like this, so now what will happen if there is a space at the starting letter, then it will try to trim that space. In the same way, if you want to remove the space at the ending of the string, then you need to use the function called or. So if it is the last space, then you need to use or. If the space is there at the starting itself, then you need to use the left. Right now I don't have any spaces, so I'm not doing difference. But if you have the space either at the starting or the last, you can use the altrim or outtrim functions as well. Okay. So like this, we'll see some more. Suppose if I want to reverse this string, I want to completely reverse. So I can use the reverse function. There is a function called reverse, and this also accepts only one parameter. You can write like this. As you see here, the string is completely got replaced. Okay. Suppose I want to replace a character. suppose there is an A, the letter A I want to replace with a comma. How can I replace? There is a replace function here. So once you do this, you just pass on the data or column for this. What is the character you want to replace? Is A. With what you want to replace? I want to replace this A with a comma. So it accepts three parameters. The first one is the string or data, whichever you want to replace. So mention the character, which character you want to replace, and with what you want to replace. Okay. So when you mention like this, now if you see wherever I can see the letter A, it is replaced with the comma here. So everywhere it has been replaced with the comma, right? So this is how you can use the replace function. And there are some other functions as well, like if you want to convert this everything into an upper level, sorry, the capital case, then you need to use upper function like this. If you want to capitalize all the letters into the uppercase, then you need to use the upper function. And if you want to turn this into lowercase, then there is a function called lower. See here, it is completely converted with the lower characters. Like this, you can use this string function. Like I have provided the sample set of all the string functions here. But if you want to understand the SQL functions more, then you can directly go to this w3schools.com. You will get all the functions list, and you can practice the same thing as well. So here is the list of all the various different functions. So I'm not touching into the most of these functions. So I'm just giving very high level functions here. So I suggest you to go back to this particular site and read all the functions and how it is doing. Try to practice this with an examples. So if you navigate here, they have all the list of various functions by category wise. Okay. Suppose one more important function. Suppose if you want to calculate how many characters are there in the city column, then you need to use the function called length. LEN underscore city. It is not length, it is LEN only. You see, it is listing all the number of characters in this particular record. Okay. Like this, you go back to the W3 schools and you can practice all the remaining functions as well. Now moving apart, so as part of our next list of functions, we'll see about the date functions. As you see here, we have the date functions here. So remember one thing, whenever you are writing function, definitely that should be using the brackets. Okay, if you are not using the brackets, then it is not working. Okay. So all the functions should have the brackets. So let's go and see the other date functions. So we have some list of date functions as well here. I will see some of these functions how to write. Select star from customer details. Now as part of this, I have a date of birth column. Okay, so I will take this column for our example purpose. Okay, DOB. As you see that we have the date of birth column and it has a date format here. So if I want to extract the year column from this, how can I extract? So you need to use a function called year. It will just accepts a single parameter. So you pass on the date of birth to this function as birth year. Now if you see here, you are able to extract the year column year from this date column. So in a similar way, if you want to extract the month, I can write like birth month. So you can use the month here. If you want to extract the day function, day of this from this date, you need to use the day function, birth underscore. You see that it has been extracting all the dates here. So from a date column, I can extract the year, month, day like this using the inbuilt date functions, which is available here. In the same way, if I want to add, suppose let's say I want to add the current date and time for this list, I can use the date time get date function. Get date as today date. You see here, the get date function will return you the complete date and time of the based on your current system. So you can use the get date function if you want to get the today's date as well. So if you want to calculate the difference between the two dates, then we need to use a function called date difference. Okay, how to use this date difference function? So let's say I want to calculate the difference between date of birth and the current date. Now I would like to know how many years the difference between these two dates. Now for this, I can use the date diff function. This accepts three parameters. So this is the syntax. You need to write like this, date diff like this. So I'm writing the year, date of birth as a first parameter, and I want to get the current date. I want to calculate the difference of years between the date of birth and the current date. So for the current date, I am using the get date. Okay. So I am calculating the year difference. Now if you see here from 1990 to 2021, it is almost 31 years has been difference. So it is giving me the calculations between the date of birth and the today's current date. So in the same way, if you want to extract the date difference between months and days, what you can do is you can replace this as like this. Sorry, I have missed the comma. So let's go and execute. Now you can see how many months is difference between this date and this date is around 377, and from 2004 it is 2.5 months, and it is also giving the difference between the days as well. So these are the number of days, that is the difference between the two dates. Okay. So like this, you can use the date if function. You can use the date add function as well. If you want to add the date, suppose if you want to see in this particular example, they are trying to add 1 year to this. So let's take the same example and we'll try here. Suppose let's say I want to calculate the get date. So I want to know what is the date after 1 year from now. Okay. Something like I'm listing it as a next date. So you see here, today is an 18/6 and the next date it is giving me 2022/06/18. Okay. So it will try to give the one. Suppose if you give -1 here, it will go back 1 year to the previous. Now you see here, it is giving me the 2020. So in the same way, if you want to change this for the month and day wise, you can just replace the year with the month or day. Okay. So just replace like this. Next date month something I am giving here. You see here. So it is giving me the exact, it is going 1 month back and giving me the data 1 month back because I kept the -1. Suppose if you give +1, so it will go back to the future date and after 1 month it will try to show the data. Now you see 2021/07/18. So it is listing this date. So like this you can use the datetime functions, and again you can go back to this SQL functions list in the W3 schools. Anyway, I will give this complete link for you in the description below. So you can just try with all this and see how this is getting worked. So I have tried to list most of the day-to-day activities functions here. So for the rest of the functions, you can directly go to this W3 schools and directly practice with this. So now we will move on to the next level of next set of functions, okay, which is let's say advanced functions. We'll come back to this aggregate functions. We'll see some other functions, whatever we have here. Now, suppose let's say I want to select, I want to search, is there any no data? Suppose let's say in this particular customer column or maybe the city column, suppose consider there is a no data. If there is no data inside this column, then obviously SQL Server will try to show it as a null value. Even if you want to try to enter this, you see it here. So I'm trying to enter. So I'm trying to keep this as a null. I don't want to enter any data here. Currently I'm trying to put. So let's go back and try to see the data now. Now you see, even there is no data here in SQL Server, it will be marked as a null value. Okay, null means nothing. Okay, so we'll see how to check. Suppose if there is a scenario, now you need to check whether this value is null, and if this value is null, replace with a new year. Okay. I want to replace this data when there is a null. I want to replace this data as a new year. So for that, first I need to check whether the value coming is null or not. Okay. First you need to check if the value is null or not. If the value is null, then you can replace this with the what. But how do we check whether it is null or not? So for this, we have a function called isNull function. So I can use null function. So use null function will just help you to check if the data is coming is null or not. Okay. So I will pause the city column. Null value. Something I am naming it as a null value. Okay. So I will mention this. Is null value is just check to take the two parameters. The first one is the column and the second one is the one whatever you want to replace. So I want to replace if that is null, show me here. Now I'm trying to execute this. Now if you see here, for this particular record, this value is null. So it is trying to display as new value. Okay. So if you don't want to display anything and if you just want to display the blank, you can just keep it as a blank. Okay. So like this, you can use the is null function. Now we have already seen this get date as current date, right? So suppose let's consider this value. You want to convert this from date to character. You want to convert the data type from date to the character. Okay. Now you can use the cast function for this. Get date as character of some 30 date converted to string. You see here. So if there is any requirement, if you want to convert from one data type to another data type, you need to use the cast function. Okay. Like this, suppose we take one more example as well. So let's take this is currently integer, right? I want to convert this as a varchar or varchar to the integer. Suppose we take this is a varchar, and if you want to convert as an integer, so I can write like cast year established as so because I want to consider this as an integer, so I'm converting to integer. Year converted to int. Now this particular value is converted to the integer. Okay. So like this, you can use the cast function to convert the data types. Okay. And similarly, we have the convert function as well. So convert, I'm trying to leave it to you. You can go back to the W3 schools and there is a convert function here. Okay. There is a convert function here and you can just visit what this exactly convert function is doing and try to apply this same format in your practice. Okay. So moving on to the next function, we have the coalesce function as well. So basically coalesce function, what exactly it will do is we need to write the coalesce like this. Coalesce. This is the function. We just copy the spelling. So you can use the coalesce function. Suppose if the first column is null, then it will show the second column. If the first value is null, then it will try to show the second value. So in this case, what I am trying to show here, I am trying to use the coalesce. If city is null, then show me the country. Instead of city, show me the country. Okay. whatever the record data is present in the country column, show that same data as part of your city. Okay. Now here, now you see it here. There is a comma missing here. Now you see here, everywhere we have the data because it is same data it is showing, but this particular record is null here. So it is null, so it is trying to show the country value. Now you can ask me the difference. What is the difference between the is null and then coalesce function? So basically is null will just replace this parameter with whatever the string. Even the coalesce is performing the same in this case. If my city is null, then show me the country. Here also you can try to use instead of this, you can put like this. Okay. Now even that shows the same country as well. Like you see here, this is showing USA and this is showing USA. Now both are performing the same options, but what exactly is the difference? Now let's consider if the country for this particular record, if the country is also having null value, okay, then what will be shown? So basically a null value will be shown at this particular level, correct? So now I want to add one more column here. Default, or you can put one more column also here or put some text, whatever it is. So is null just accepts only two parameters maximum. So if not this, if this is null, it will try to show this. But coalesce will give you many options, like if this column is null, show this. If this column is null, show this. If this column also null, then show the next column. You can keep on adding how many number of columns you can put. Now if you go back here and execute, right now we are not seeing default because the country column the data is there. But if you want to try to edit it, as you see here, this is null, so it is coming here. This is also null, so that's why it is showing as a default here. So Coalesce will give you many options. You can place number of columns, how many you want. So first one is null. It will try to show the first non-null value. So wherever it finds non-null value, so it will try to show that particular value. So in this case, if city is null, it will go here. If city is the country is null, it will go here. If this is also null, if you are putting the next one, then it will try to go to the next level as well. Okay, like this, you can use the coalesce functions. Okay. Now there is an use numeric function. Still, there are many functions here. Okay, what I suggest you to go through all these functions because these are very much important functions which you will be using on day-to-day basis. Okay, and try with all the functions and see what exactly the difference and how it is each one is performing. Okay, so we'll move on to the last level of set of functions in this case. So which is called aggregate functions. Okay, these are the aggregate functions: sum, min, max, average, count. So basically, if you want to try to add on the whole data in a particular column, or if you want to find a maximum or minimum value from a set of values, or if you want to find the average values or to find the total count of that, so basically we can use the aggregate functions. When we talk about aggregate functions in any language, normally we speak about this one: sum, min, max, average, count. Okay, these are the functions are very much common in everywhere. So we'll try to see all these various aggregate level functions, how to use it. So now for this column, let's take this annual turnover. Okay. Now for these functions, what I'm trying to sum this complete annual turnover. So I want to know, irrespective of the customers, what is my total annual turnover for all the customers. So what I'm trying to do, I'm customer sum is annual turnover as total turnover. If I try to execute this, it is giving me the total turnover. Right? In the same way, we can use the min max functions. Now you have see I have written all the 5 different functions. So this one will just calculate the total sum, and this one will just give you the minimum value out of the turnover, and this one will give the max turnover, average turnover. So I'm trying to execute all this together to see the difference here. Now you see the first one is giving the complete sum of it, and the second one is just giving the minimum value out of this all the values that you are seeing, and the max is giving the maximum value out of this, and the average function is trying to just average the numbers for all these records, and the count is giving me like there are total 10 different annual turnovers are there, so I'm just giving the count here. Okay, so this is how you can use the aggregate functions to write it like this. So with this, I will conclude the class for today. Just to try to practice all the exercise that I have been attaching in this particular description below. So to in next class, I will be explaining about in depth of how to use these aggregate functions. Right now, we have just seen only how to use these functions in a select class, but we will see how to use that in the where filtering conditions and how to group this data in various scenarios. Okay, thanks. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the next class.